Well, joining me now is Louise Jones, Head of Intelligence at McKenzie Intelligence Services. So welcome to you. So as we saw there, a real focus on the targeting of civilian infrastructure, Louise. So how is that going to affect the war as the winter goes on?
Yeah, so I think it's important to understand these events in the context of just how long this war is likely to go on for. It could easily last for many months, if not years. And so, therefore, the resilience of Ukraine is really important and the sustainability of its ability to keep up the war effort. Now, this targeting of civilian infrastructure will have a real impact on the Ukrainian economy, Ukrainian industry, and will make it harder for them, therefore, to have this resilience. It'll also make conditions a lot harder for civilians with respect to their ability to, prepare food properly, to live in heated homes, and then you'll start to see that this could easily have a knock-on effect on the health of the population and their morale, which again just puts further strain possibly on Ukraine's infrastructure. And what Russia is hoping that, therefore, this will undermine the determination of the Ukrainians to keep up their defence. However, as we've seen from the very beginning, Russia has always completely miscalculated the determination of the Ukrainians to remain independent. So it's likely this is just another miscalculation there. Well,
yes, and one focus, of course, in recent weeks has been Kherson. So get us up to date with what's going on there now and how are Ukraine able to gain ground? Are they able to make any progress?
Yes, so Kherson was retaken by the Ukrainians in mid-November, and really it was always a difficult city for the Russians to defend because of the Dnieper River that runs alongside it. This meant that the Russians really had pockets of defenders that were isolated from their main logistics chain by the river. Now, whereas this gave the advantage to the Ukrainians retaking Kherson, it then therefore turns to their disadvantage if they try and advance further east in the river, because they will face exactly the same problem. And the Russians know this, so they've therefore really focused on having a blocking effect on these routes that head east and south from Kherson. They've started to have some very fortified dug-in positions. They've got anti-vehicle measures on these routes, such as dragon's teeth on the roads. And that's very crucial because this central route here is the main route to Crimea, which is of totemic significance for the Ukrainians. They would love to be able to head straight for Crimea and retake that back. However, the Russians know they just need to have a very credible block effect here, and really Ukraine will struggle to make it across the river and advance further along this axis. The Ukrainians will probably be forced for their next move to have to cross the Dnieper River much higher up to the north and advance south through Zaporizhia. So they've got some operational decisions to make there.
And very briefly, what's the situation in the Donbass and particularly around Bakhmut?
Yeah, so the Russians are attempting with Bakhmut the same tactics that they tried with Mariupol and Severodonetsk. They're essentially trying to encircle the town, isolate the Ukrainian defenders, and then take it that way. However, they're not being very successful with this. The ground is not conducive to rapid manoeuvre, so really the sides here are bogged down in trench warfare. So although the Russians have made a very, very slight progress towards the south, they're really no further on with this particular strategy. And it's the same story for the Ukrainians trying to advance through Svata and Crimea. They're really struggling to make any ground there.
Louise, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.